Okay, Q&A for episode 14. Here we bloody go. First question from Xeragusta. Q&A, what are planning on doing between the end of season 1 and the start of season 2? Probably planning out season 2 in great detail, running few smaller scenario series, probably finishing up the whole Mass Effect versus Warhammer 40k thing, but overall don't expect some large gap between season 1 and 2. This series gets the most views and most interest, and I intend to continue it for quite some time yet. Okay, next question from David Rojas 5911. Do Tau Psychers and leaders compare the dark side of the Force to chaos, based on the information obtained from the Jedi? Like the Tau-aligned Psychers, you mean? Yes and no? They are still figuring it out, classifying it, because... look, in the 40k there is the warp, but if it makes sense, not all of the warp belongs to chaos. Yeah? It's a sea of souls. There is a realm of chaos, and chaos gods are the most powerful local entities, for the most part, but there are other warp entities, warp realms, and so forth. In Star Wars, the Sea of Souls, or the Force, is split between the light side and the dark side, for the most part. There seem to be other powers and other entities that have presence there, bigger or lesser, but overall it's like the split between the two. Yet neither light side nor the dark side are really deities in how 40k psychers would understand it. So yeah, for now at least they are figuring it out. There clearly are similarities, but also major differences. Okay, next question from Kirkli Malima. Q&A, same question as before, but how big is the Blackthorn Dynasty and her fleet? With last few episodes where her domain was lost during her betrayal from the Imperium and the Great Displacement. How big her domain pre-Great Displacement and after the Great Displacement? Okay, first of all, I have no idea where you got the information that she lost her realm. She didn't. The Blackthorns suffered casualties, yes, but she didn't lose her realm. She didn't lose her domain. Francesca Dominica Blackthorn is doing fine, more or less. So, few clarifications first. The casualties I spoke of were elements of her fleet and several outposts, not full colonies. Like the planets where she was preparing to colonize and add to her domain. Not to mention the Imperial worlds where she planned to secure for herself. So those were the casualties suffered by the Blackthorn Dynasty during the Great Displacement. As for the casualties they suffered during the rebellion against the Imperium, they lost one of the cadet branches of the dynasty, the Glassthorns, a planet, 2 moons, and a major space station. Luckily for them, thanks to the fast reaction from the Tau, majority of a thorn-bound dominion was secured, and basically all of it was transported alongside the Tau to the Star Wars galaxy. So again, the casualties suffered by the Dominion, by the Blackthorns, during the Great Displacement weren't, oh holy hell, we lost a branch of our family and 20 worlds. No, it was, holy crap, we lost like 3, 4, 8 potential colonies our outposts, prospects for the future of the dynasty. Not to mention several fleets, agents, you can go on. If you are asking about the current state of a foreign-bound dominion, they control 9 star systems, which includes 7 planets, 4 moons, and 1 big space station. Each star system is controlled by their own dynasty, or well, either the main dynasty, being the Blackthorns, or one of the cadet branches of this dynasty, so sub-dynasties, if you want to call them that. I actually made a map of a foreign-bound dominion not that long ago, so here you go, you can look at it. Blackthorn Dynasty controls Amagra Prime and Noct Rossa. Red Thorns control Rosetta Prime and Rosetta Primus. Aegon Thorns control Knossos. Tyrian Thorns control Sidonia. Green Thorns Pontara and Novi. Amber Thorns have control of Sericum. Silver Thorns of Inue. And lastly, Brass Thorns control Andravia. Each of the cadet branches of sub-dynasties, however you prefer to call them, have their own characteristics, something unique, some specialization. And in time you will learn more detail about them. But more or less they are loyal to the main Blackthorn dynasty. So, yeah, again, none of those cadet branches was lost during the Great Displacement. They lost fleets, they lost assets, they lost potential colonies, but overall they endured. However, the casualties did cause more stir than Francesca Dominica Blackthorn likes, which is why she pushes for Blackthorns to secure Scarif and add it to her dominion, to be either part of a Blackthorn dynasty holdings directly, or be given to a newly established sub-dynasty. Time will tell. Just assume that just as the Tau plan out their great expansion, so do the Blackthorns, their cadet branches, and many other allies of a Tau. Okay, next question from Roma Victress 99857. About the Interrogator guy in the shorts. Who inspired him? Because he keeps reminding me of a Tarn from the Decepticon Justice Division. I have no bloody idea who this Tarn is. As for the main inspiration, I don't believe there was any single one. If I had to choose, probably Hans Landa from the Inglorious Bastards. I most definitely wanted to replicate his intimidating presence. But frankly, in terms of Serene Spider, I can't take much of the credit because I just came with an idea of an interrogator. Hayden Lumpkin gave him shape, this terrifying, unnatural smile. I wanted something like this, but I mean, Hayden made it so much better than I could ever imagine. And then Chaos Mancer 55 bloody killed it playing his role. So yeah, the impressive state of Serene Spider as a terrifying interrogator, I just gave the idea and wrote the script. The true applause should be directed at Hayden Lumpkin and Chaos Mancer 55. I do not believe that Taimal could be this terrifying without their contribution. Okay, next question from Green Knight 343. Oh, good to see you, Green Knight. What is your question? Q&A. Did you come up with a Rune Resistance group yourself? If so, what historical resistance groups are they inspired by? Well, yes, I did come up with Rune Resistance Front, or, well, the Rune Liberation Front, if we want to be accurate. They aren't canonical. I created them for the sake of a narrative. As for the main inspiration, half Polish resistance and independence movement, half the style and aesthetics of South American revolution, rebellions, and so forth. I mean, Rune is a tropical planet, and Governor Bisat Kong is stylized basically as an El Presidente by all accounts, so, you know, it all came naturally, all things considered. A bit cliché, I am not going to lie, but it fits nicely. I do not believe I need to invent something completely unique and unexpected every time we get to a new planet. Okay, next question from Maxim Gwoździc 3009. I hope I guessed your name correctly. Anyway, Q&A. Do you have plans to include the Night Sisters or other force organizations like the Zizion Shah in your series or not? A very fine question, and the answer is... yes. With the Psychers being around, it would be a terrible shame if I didn't include, you know, other force-sensitive organizations. The interactions between them and Psychers would be interesting to discuss and show in the story. So, all in good time, don't you worry. It just... currently, there isn't really a way to introduce them. At least as far as I know, all major force-sensitive organizations are relatively distant to the region of space the story takes part in. So, you know, in good time, those subjects will be touched upon. Okay, next question from Sam PB8HU. I am guessing there is a way to pronounce this name somehow, but I can't guess it right now. Anyway, question. How will the Tau react to the Republic Military Creation Act? Will they consider it a serious threat, since right now the judicials are a joke compared to the Tau military, and the Jedi are just too few in number, but a professional military force down from the enormous amount of planets in the Republic would pose a serious threat to them, even with separatist crisis? Okay, this is a really fun question, because you are both correct and incorrect. Yes, the judicial forces are overall a joke and Jedi are too few in number, but they are still a significant threat. Like, judicials are overall shit, but they are just enormous in terms of scale and size. Remember that they are spread throughout the galaxy. Many planets have their own version of judicial forces. So the Tau are aware that, well, hell, with numbers alone and the potential of, you know, industrial heart of the Republic, they have no chance defeating the Republic even without Military Creation Act. The Republic is too big, too populous, and the Tau Empire itself is too small and doesn't have enough manpower to realistically threaten it. They read the history books. They know that every empire or dominion in the Outer Rim that tried to fight with the Republic always lost, sooner or later. there is simply no competition with the industry of a Republic's core. In a Total War scenario, the Tau always lose. The only way they could potentially win is if the war doesn't go to the Total War scale and the Republic simply goes for peace, accepting small losses for the sake of keeping peace for the most of their territories. But yeah, sorry, a little rant. Going back to your question, the Tau are more surprised that the Republic didn't have military already. This is like anathema to them. Like, how the hell a state this large doesn't have proper military and proper navy? So with them arriving to the galaxy, as well with over 40k factions, the Republic establishing military would be seen as a potential threat, yes, but also something which should be expected. As long as the Military Creation Act is directed at the separatists and not at the Tau and their allies, they will be overall fine with it. It's not the Military Creation Act that would concern the Tau by itself. It would be the sudden arrival of a fully grown clone army that the Republic seemingly pulled out of their own ass. Now that's concerning. But I will not say anything more, because spoilers. Wait and see. Okay, next question from Samurai Bear 5102. Very cool name. Will there be an increase to the original 100 ARC troopers? I believe you are meaning the nulls, the Alpha ARC troopers, yeah? If so, mate, look at the timeline. We are 5 years before the Clone Wars. The Alphas are already 10 years old. Even if you start a new batch of the nulls, by the time of the Clone Wars, they will be 10. By the end of it, they will be 16. Sorry, even if they wanted to, there is simply no time to grow new nulls. More importantly, Alpha ARC troopers were prototype. They were initial template, which was in the end rejected. The Kaminoans decided to choose a different template for their clones, and the ARC troopers were to be not only discarded, they were to be destroyed, and only Mandalorian trainers and Jango Fett stopped it. So for the Kaminoans, there is not only no reason to create nulls again because they rejected it, and Kaminoans are, well, you know how they are. If they decide that something is a failure, they don't do it again. They could potentially try to grow more commandos, like the later, in their eyes, improved variant of the ARC troopers, but again, the timeline, 5 years before the Clone Wars. Even if they start growing them now, they simply won't be ready by the time of a war. They could potentially try to speed up their growth even more, but we do know that the faster the clone grows, the lower quality it is. So even if they clone the nulls, the ARC troopers, and made them mature 4 times faster than normal humans, so that they could be ready for the Clone Wars, this would notably lower the quality of the troops. So are the lower quality nulls even worth the effort of creating them? I don't think so. I personally don't think so. So no, I do not believe that there will be more than the 100 original null alpha arc troopers. Okay, next question from Rowan Williams 7947. Oh, hello again. How intense, immense and heavy would be the negative emotions if the Star Wars galaxy encountered the Drukhari, if you plan to add them in any way? Well, assuming that I do add them, the closest thing to the Drukhari in Star Wars are Yuzang Vong. Like, the Vong caused so many terrible things that they were cut off from the Force, right? And the Drukhari caused so much suffering that they lost their psychic potential. In a way, both species were rejected by the Sea of Souls. This isn't exact comparison because Vong act more like blanks, while the Drukhari can be corrupted by chaos forces and influenced by the warp, so not exactly blanks. I think that maybe they would be like a wound in the Force. The bigger the wound, the more screw up the given Drukhari is. I think that with their wound in the Force nature, even the Sith would reject the Drukhari, because imagine being so terrible that the Force itself rejects you. That would be anathema even to the Sith. The Drukhari would be seen as desecration of everything in reality, either avoided or to be destroyed. I honestly think that even the Sidious would be wary of a Drukhari and see them as a threat to him and his plans rather than a potential tool. Okay, next question from Gordo Zinho. Oh, hello again. Will the Tau send expeditions to the rest of the galaxy once they get a handle of hyperspace engines? Oh yeah, though I didn't really mention it yet because there wasn't really an occasion to do so. Many factions within the Tau Commonwealth are already sending expeditions and missions out into the void even without the hyperspace drive. But you can be sure that when the Tau fully integrate hyperdrive into their roster of technologies they use, they will be sending expeditions and missions far, far away from their borders. Okay, next question from Psab950. Oh, hello again. Good to see you. What will the Tau and their allies think about the galaxy's treatment of the clones? Look, mate, that's, jumping a little bit ahead of time. We are still 5 years before the Clone Wars. But okay, I can give you basic answer, which is disappointed, but not surprised. Look, discrimination against clones isn't new in 40k Galaxy. There are Tau who aren't impressed with clones, so it's not like it's exclusive to the evil factions. Or, well, more evil than the Tau. On the other hand, in most cases, if the clone is sentient, they are still treated, or at least given opportunity to be treated better than the clones that served the Republic. Not to mention, the Galactic Republic using a slave army, but that's totally another subject on its own. Okay, next question. From TN Blue Tick 231. Well, now that's a name and a half. If the orcs manage to slip containment and make it to one of the junk worlds full of scrap, how bad would the ensuing war be? Oh shit, now that's an apocalyptic vision. You know the concept of Forge Worlds? Those giant, factories that supply the Imperium of Man? Now, imagine this, but Ork, and you have a basic idea of the potential of a given war. Frankly, from what we've seen of different junk worlds, the things that are left there, just thrown down, well, that's... at this point you just need to get there before they get a fleet operational and just burn it from orbit. That's your only hope. Because if you can't, you and at least 6 dozen nearby systems are completely screwed. Okay, next question from Ivan Torres 641. Oh, hello again. Q&A. Knowing in the Sky River Galaxy the interspecies relationships are more common than in the Warhammer 40k galaxy, and that this relationship can produce descendants, what would the reaction of the Commonwealth, all of the species in the general and not only in the Tau, about this existence of hybrids? Okay, a fun fact about quote-unquote alien species in Star Wars. Quite a bit of them were created by the ancient Rakatan Empire, and they were just genetically modified humans. So I am aware that the species that were created from the same template by the Rakatan, not necessarily only humans, but they can reproduce. This wouldn't be that strange for Warhammer 40k Galaxy, because that's just different types of uphumans and mutants from their perspective. Of course, initially the people will be surprised, but after the Earthcast does some basic studying, they will discover that, yeah, a lot of those species have common ancestry. So they aren't really different species, technically speaking. So the Tau will be surprised, to say the least. The humans, the Guevesa, will be shocked regarding the amount of uphumans and mutants in the galaxy. Kroot will be happy with the potential of a diverse genetic material they can consume. And, for example, Tarelians in my story have something similar. Not that long ago, the first model of a Tarelian was revealed as a reptilian dog soldier. In my story, I made it so that the Tarelians are just reptilian species that lost their homeworld, which is canonical, but as they spread out in nomadic clans, escaping from their destroyed civilization, they mutated and changed over time. So all the classic lizardmen from Warhammer Fantasy, totally different reptilian species, dragon people, and the classic dog soldiers that are represented currently through new models, all of them are canonical in my story. They are just different mutants of, diverse subspecies that have common origin. Hayden Lumpkin created amazing art pieces. This one is from the Damocles Gulf Crusade rewrite series, which is currently abandoned. And this one is for the Star Wars X Warhammer 40k. We will meet this person soon. So yeah, a little teaser. And yeah, the Tarelians, at least in my story, will not be surprised by this diversity. Okay, last question from Enovos3138. Okay, what's your question? Q&A, silly question here, well, that's a good start. What do you think Phil Kelly would have done to this story? Oh, you lying bastard, this is not a silly question, this is a traumatic question. Oh good god, I don't even want to think about what Phil Kelly could come up with regarding this series. I mean, maybe he would make the Tau team up with the Huts? Maybe? Or maybe, oh, even better, he would place them not in the place where I put them, but in the unknown regions and consume or fuse with the Chill's ascendancy only to become a threat from the unknown regions that attacks the known galaxy. Something like that. I don't know, I can't comprehend the madness that is hiding within the skull of Phil Kelly, and I do not intend to find out what could be hiding there. Frankly, thinking about the possibilities gives me very real PTSD. Again, screw you for giving me a traumatic question, that was not a silly question, you absolute bastard. Alright, that will be all for today. Sorry for making Q&A this late. Frankly, it's been hard. It's been hard lately. I am exhausted, not mentally but physically. Working in cold, in ice, in snow, it's really exhausting. I simply didn't have much energy for writing and other stuff, so yeah, sorry. Things are a little bit slow, but I will try to pick back the pace. Anyway, if your question wasn't answered, I either was already in the middle of the production when you asked it, or your question was related to some spoilers, or even more possibly, it was so complicated that I simply didn't have energy to figure out a satisfying answer. So, yeah, better luck next time. Anyway, that's it for today. Stay tuned and stay safe out there.